One of the most common issues or symptoms that we see in our office that I've been able to really help hundreds, if not thousands, of people all over the country with are digestive issues. It's one of my favorite things to help with. There are so many people, unfortunately, suffering with it, but it's been such a joy and such a pleasure to see people's lives truly transformed in the digestive area once they start care in our office. There are so many different things that can cause a digestive issue, which makes it so incredibly tough. And one of the best things that I can do to help you along that process is to make it a much more efficient, effective path towards that healing. And we do that by, number one, getting the proper testing that we have. We have access to some of the best food allergy testing ever. If you've never had that done, what we do is we test 110 different, it's called IgG responses in the body. And those would be foods that you would have that would cause an inflammatory response specific to you. So having that information is really, really critical in seeing how do we speed up that healing process. The other thing that we look at in that food allergy test, if that's ever something you wanted to do, is it tests 8 different IgE responses. And IgE responses, think of it more like that kid that you know that has a severe peanut allergy. So that is not only where there's an inflammatory response in the body, but it is much, much more significant. And unfortunately, there are thousands and thousands of people all over the country that have these severe, severe responses, have tried to go to every medical doctor on the planet, and they cannot find an answer. And part of that is because these are being unchecked. And when you don't have the information, you don't know how to make that change. So that is a huge test that we do. One other test that we have access to, I use a couple different companies, but one in particular is Doctor's Data. And they have an incredible comprehensive stool test that not only lets us look at the good, healthy probiotic or bacteria in your gut. There's 6 different strains that we look at on a scale of 0 to 4. 0 or NG would be no growth, all the way up to a +4, which would be really strong. So we total that number up. We want to see how strong your good bacteria is, because it's really important that you have that good bacteria. If you don't have the good bacteria, think of it like a bouncer in a bar where you don't have the bouncer, and so anybody and everybody can come in, and all of a sudden it wreaks havoc on the entire system. And so looking at that strength of that is really important if you've never done that. My favorite thing about this test is it also shows us if there's any bacterial infection. And not only if there is any, but specifically what's the strength of that bad bacteria and what's the exact strain. And having these exact strains makes it really important for me to see what exact herbs are going to respond best to speed up that healing process. And I have seen lives completely transformed once we get this information and actually start to take the steps necessary to make those changes. We also have Candida or yeast overgrowth, if you've ever heard of that. Those can be awful in the body. A lot of times when you have those, you have a lot of sugar cravings. And that's because those Candida or yeast in the gut actually talk to the brain and are telling your brain to feed it, which, as weird as that sounds, I have seen a lot of patients have these sugar cravings when they come in. As we start to kill that off, those dramatically decrease. And not only mood, energy improves, but digestive issues improve as well. Microscopic yeast is another one that we look at. Also on the comprehensive test, we look at parasites. So a lot of people think, man, I would never have that. If you've ever been out of the country, if you're, anything like that, that's often a place where you'll get those. The interesting thing about parasites is they can transfer from family member to family member pretty easily. And so it may be your husband or your wife or your child were out of the country, and now some of the other family members are dealing with issues. And so that's a really important area that we've been able to help a lot of people with. We also look at how well the body's digesting and absorbing foods. We look at short-chain fatty acids. That gives us an idea of the good food for the good probiotic in the body. Really important to see the strength of that. And my favorite part about the test is that if we do have any infections, we can actually see what exact strain it is, and then again, the exact herbs that are going to be most effective in your case. So again, it speeds up the healing process. I had mentioned, if you've never done chiropractic, I have many patients that under chiropractic care, their digestion is improved as well, because we're opening the communication from the brain to the digestive system. And as we get that body out of the stress response and into the healing mode, and we open up that and restore that communication from the brain to the gut, for example, or the brain to the stomach or intestines, all of a sudden that communication is better. And when it's better and the body's in that relaxed healing repair state, that's where you'll see changes that maybe you've never had in your entire life. And maybe you've tried everything, or you think you've tried everything, and chiropractic would be the last thing that you would ever think of that would help it. I'm telling you, it can be an absolute game changer in having some of those changes. So every case is uniquely different. We do really in-depth testing and questionnaire in order to see what's going on in your specific case. We have access to the best testing in regards to blood. I have access to just about anything that your medical doctor would have. We just use a dramatically different approach to get dramatically different results. And if that's something you're interested in, please feel free to give our office a call. I would absolutely love to help and get you on that next step on that path to healing. So I look forward to meeting you, look forward to talking to you, and I hope you have a great day.